This week in League, Polynesian parents can now pick from names other than Tim, Cameron and James. Now they'll be pronounced correctly as Rabs calls time on his career.
Mrs. Marshall, a certified freak after she proves good enough to get two underperforming kids contracts with Wayne Bennett.
Trent Barrett given lifetime membership to One Nation after killing the rep career of the Fox during Indigenous round.
Plus, we look ahead to all the action of round 13, the 2022 NRL season.
All that and more this week in League. Welcome to episode 468 of This Week in League. I'm Nate.
And I'm Jay.
And I'm Glenn.
Hey fellas, how are we doing on this chilly Wednesday?
Jay's sick.
Jay's sick. Well, yeah,
He's also feeling unwell.
He's suffering. Yeah, he's suffering from non-COVID illness.
Non-COVID illness.
I probably did have COVID
and several mental disorders,
but I just channeled my inner Nathan Cleary, and I just completely dominated the COVID, and in fact downgraded it to a lesser disease. So I'm testing negative.
See, I just wanted to leave it as like a non-COVID illness and then let people's mind go racing. And I mean, the first conclusion would probably be syphilis, but like, so, you know, like let people, you know, play a bit of theatre of the mind.
You've got me all wrong. You've got me all wrong. Those days are well behind me. Well behind me.
Bless modern medicine.
Well, plus, in the very early days of the internet,
yes,
I was or unfortunate enough, depending on your point of view, to have somebody send me photos of what syphilis used to do to you. That shit haunts you. So I wrap my shit up religiously.
Oh, there we go. There's a bit of taste of the I don't even fucking the passage of time. You know, it means nothing to me. I'm going to guess it's like that's a taste of like the early 2019 era, maybe. Would that have been it? Was it like would have been mid 2019 era?
Probably. Yeah,
around Muppet Babies and all that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
A bit of a throwback. This week in Stepdad's penis. Now,
this week in genital warts.
Yeah. Now, this week, fellas, obviously we've got a shortened round due to the litany of buys caused by State of Origin. And with that being the case, let's actually talk about the State of Origin sides. We had the squads released, prior to our last episode recording, and since then we've actually seen the sides, reduced to the 22-man squads that are more likely how the guys are going to take the field. I don't know how you want to do this. I mean, I guess Glennie, as a Queenslander,
you get free reign.
Free reign, mate. What do you think about your side?
Oh, yeah.
We'll just go through like the 17 first, because they're the ones that are most likely to take the field unless someone gets the Origin injury. What is it, Wednesday today? So probably Sunday we'll start getting the reports about the virus that usually goes through Queensland. It's usually on Sunday when the virus hits.
Origin-itis, yep.
Yep, at the moment the virus hasn't hit, and so we've got Callum Ponga at fullback, your wingers Selwyn Cobbo and Xavier Coates, centres Val Holmes and Dane Gagai, halves Munster and Daly, props Tino and Papali'i, Ben Hunt starting at 9, and then we go through the rest of the pack with TWiL, Kafusi, Ruben Cotter getting a very well-deserved call-up, and the bench, Harry Grant, Lindsay Collins, Pat Carrigan, and Jeremiah Nanai.
Other than Harry Grant, I think the bench is a little bit light on. Obviously, Grant there for the essentially utility factor. Felice Kafusi, as much as he's been a loyal servant, I don't know that I'm a massive fan of his inclusion.
The Queensland way.
Yeah, true. Ben Hunt at 9, rate it. I think it's a strong side. Kalen Ponga at fullback gives me cause for concern.
I don't feel he's ever proved himself and cemented
his first ever Origin game was outstanding, and I think much like the rest of his career in the NRL, he's dying down on that ever since for several Origin jumpers, which really isn't what Origin should be about. We say it should be picked on form, but it really is. No issue with certainly with Coates on the wing, and certainly no issue with Cobbo being given an opportunity. Holmes and Gagai, solid, and guys that are in good form as well. Halves pick themselves. Yeah, I think the big one, I think Reuben Cotter has the potential to be a bit like Kurt Capewell a couple of seasons ago, one of those guys that just really takes to that Origin arena and
I mean, he'll do that.
Grows an extra leg.
And he'll be doing that primarily in defence.
And I don't think anyone will ever be a Kurt Capewell Origin debut.
No, I'm not saying he's going to be exactly that, but you know how Capewell, some people questioned his selection and until he actually played that series, and now you couldn't imagine the side being picked without him. So,
remember when he was picked into centres, I mean that was the worst Queensland side ever.
Yeah,
in quotes,
exactly. I think Cotter is probably potentially the next incarnation of that type of Origin player, that his career goes to a whole nother level because of the opportunities being given here.
Yep,
the next Trevor Gilmister.
Oh.
Look, the only question, I mean, obviously, Callum Ponga would, people wouldn't be surprised by us saying that. I mean, I feel his question mark, but who gets the spot ahead of him if not him? And Ben Hunt, I think, like Ben Hunt's obviously in great form. I don't know about him starting over Harry Grant, but I think it might be more a matter of his toughness through the opening exchanges. And then bring Harry Grant on, because remember when Harry Grant made his start in the Queensland side, he was also coming off the bench.
Off the bench, yeah.
And he fucking tore it up. Yeah, when he'd come on sort of 25, 30 minutes
with
in,
a bit of fatigue and stuff. Setting
yeah, exactly. So perhaps they're just doing that just to maximise his impact when he does come in. I mean, because obviously he could start at 9 and he could probably play out the match.
I think Hunt is very well deserving of a starting position given his form. Albeit at halfback for the Dragons, but he's had some wonderful games for Queensland at Origin level, and he can be much maligned at times at club level given his history and a pretty iconic fail in a grand final. But his form speaks for itself. I like the props. I like Tino starting and obviously Papali'i as well. I think that's a solid front row and strong.
Yeah, they had a big omission, with Fafita, but then that was immediately after the outrage had started, they were like, oh no, he's actually, injured, and he's going to be out for a couple of weeks. So
yeah,
so they could sort of couch it in that. But
I don't know, if Fafita was picked, it'd be on reputation alone at the minute.
Look. At the end of the day, you put him on you put him running off a short ball from Daly like Homoli does, or you put him running off something Munster's doing, and it's a different proposition to fucking
agreed.
Toby Sexton, and you know what I mean. Like, the elite players, when they're surrounded by the elite players, give you elite performances. So
strong New South Wales side though, very very strong.
It is strong, slightly different, but I mean reminiscent of what we've seen. And when I saw the actual squad announced, I didn't have a problem with it at all, to be honest. The elephant in the room, of course, is Addo-Carr omission, and even despite the way that the team he plays for is travelling, he has still been, one of the top two players in that side all season, and he's still had a pretty good year, overall. It's not scoring 6 tries a game year like he did at Melbourne Storm in his final year there, but yeah, he's still I feel done nothing to warrant being dropped out of the squad, and it feels like it's less about his form and more about the sheer terror that Freddie has with Xavier Coates.
Yeah.
And he just wants someone that is an aerial jumper. It's the only reason. I mean, it's the only possible reason I could think of.
Because which makes a lot of sense, because the team that Xavier Coates has played for has had so much success over the last couple of years. In saying that, all of the teams with really tall centres and wingers have had heaps of success. Like before this year with Kyle Felt, the Cowboys were amazing, weren't they?
Yeah, well,
Fucking
I mean, like
hell.
Cameron Munster to fucking Xavier Coates has yielded plenty of tries for the Storm this year. I mean, you're talking about his Bronco. I mean, you can't really include his Broncos days into what he's doing now. Centers this year obviously became more of an issue with one of them becoming open due to the injury to Tommy, and it leads to the one problem I have with this New South Wales side, with Jack Whiten being named in the number 4 jersey.
Yes.
Anyone want to speak on that?
Obviously,
I mean, he's not.
Latrell and Tommy being injured at the same time.
It has opened up the centres, and the last time that happened, we had Jack Whiten and Gutho in the centres, and it was an absolute fucking unmitigated disaster. Cowardice both sides of the field, and that was pretty much the scenario that allowed fucking Capewell to earn his Origin reputation. Katoni Staggs, I think, is if we, with the caveats that we have set down about the players who are unavailable, I think he almost picks himself, given the lay of the land there, and I think he'll do the job. Whiten, he hasn't done the job for us.
He hasn't done the job, and he hasn't done the job for his club.
Yeah. Yep.
And if you're looking across, and this is taking all of the Penrith bias out of it, I put Matt Burton in there before I put Whiten in centre.
Yeah. Do you think? And this may the only saving grace I think to this lineup is that Stephen Crichton sat there in jersey number 14. Crichton, apart from the ability to sort of play fullback a little bit and in the centres, he doesn't actually have any utility value. He can't play in the halves or anything. So perhaps it's going to be like one of those game time decisions where New South Wales starts with number 14 in there in the centres, and because Whiten, who does have you can debate the amount of utility value for each position, he can play in the halves if need be, and
he can play lock and maybe if he 13
need. So I'm hoping. I mean,
but then why not just fucking pick him there?
Yeah, exactly. It's a fucking mind game or something like they're trying to fucking scare the shit out of Dane Gagai by not letting him know who he's going to line up against. I don't know. But that's what I expect to happen. And if it doesn't happen, then Freddie's the space cadet we know he is anyway. Look, otherwise, I mean, I think you've got established combinations from the Panthers in key positions, which is great. I'm happy with it. Damien Cook started to come on into Origin form, peaking at the right time in the club rounds. I really don't have an issue with the side. Other than that, I'm glad. I do have an issue with the selection in the squad of like Tyson Frizzell and Jacob Saifidi, but they're not in the starting. They're not in the 17 at this point. Like Saifidi, what the fuck he did? I mean, I've got no idea how he.
He had the last name Saifidi, and his brother was injured. That's what he's done.
Yeah.
This is the level of fucking cooked we're dealing with.
I think Crichton in the centres and Hines as a utility on the bench, and Whiten left the fuck out altogether.
Much better.
I think Whiten's picked because he's a Fittler guy, but I would have said Addo Carr was a Fittler guy too, which means, and what Addo Carr would bring to the side as opposed to Whiten would suggest that maybe he should have been picked first. But I think that the combination with Luai, Cleary, and the world's most underrated man, the underrated human being, not just rugby league player, apparently, in the side is massive. But I think they get a lot more if they pick Whiten at 4 and put Nicho Hines
Crichton at 4. You mean?
Sorry, what did I say?
You said Whiten.
No, sorry.
Yeah, you mean Crichton, though, yeah. Yeah, agree. And I guess to an extent, with what they do through the spine and then with what Yo brings as well, it may not matter as much. Like, the ball when it gets to the centres and the wingers is going to just require,
I think it's
running.
defensive decisions that a guy that's not a specialist centre.
Yeah. Because I certainly think that at this level, wingers are mostly, interchangeable. Because I mean, the state of origin is the fucking arena where Darius Boyd can score 400 tries.
Yeah, that's it.
Taking a pass and falling over after Greg Inglis has fucking done the work for him. So I'll
tell you what, like, say what you want about him though. Darius was a fantastic reactionary defensive winger, as in there were rarely times where he made a bad read based on what his centre was doing.
Yeah.
But
thoughts on Tarek Sims being picked?
I'm really worried about our forwards and their ability to, if Queensland get up and start really dominating through their props. And again, like RCG, he's had a serviceable season.
He's fine. He's the least of my worries.
Again, we don't have that guy that's going to stand up. We don't have that guy. Do you remember Saifidi last year? And everyone was like, oh, no, fuck. And then after the game, we all ate our words and said, no, fuck, he was our guy.
Yeah.
He was our guy that when we needed him, just took the big hit-ups and got us out of trouble.
Thoughts on Tarek Sims then?
Well, maybe Freddie just says to Payne Haas and say, look, listen, Payne, these men across you in these maroon jerseys, they don't think you're worth $1.2 million a season. They're trying to take away your fucking livelihood and your ability to feed your family.
Put them
in
an unmarked backyard grave.
Exactly. And then maybe Payne Haas becomes that guy.
Fuck, I hope so.
I feel like he's the guy that's the most built to be that guy. I mean, whether it eventuates is another story, but Tarek Sims, look, I just hope he grows an extra leg for the moment. He's another one of these guys. Like, I sort of lump him with Frizzell. I mean, but Frizzell, I mean, that fucking guy has done the fucking job for New South Wales when he's in there, and I feel like he's the guy that could probably lift Sims. Look, I don't know. I'm not 100% on board with it, but and I feel like our bench. I mean, notwithstanding the utility issue that we have, I think outside of that, though, I think there's an advantage to New South Wales there as well. So, provided that Maddo doesn't demand a release mid-game, like he does with every fucking team he's ever played for. Okay, predictions for game one.
New South Wales 13+. Isaiah score a hat trick.
Oh,
a hat trick! I don't think Isaiah will score a try. In between. This is my bold prediction. In between the 50th and 70th minute, Isaiah will score a try, and it'll be a try that may not seal the game. It may just pile on the misery. But that's it. I think that's the only time he scores a try. However, having said that, I think that he'll lay plenty on.
There you go.
But not for Jack Whiten. Jack Whiten's 0 tries because he'll be on the bench most of the time, and Crichton will be the beneficiary.
Jack Whiten to have a fucking pangolin face hug him alien style and not be able to partake in the game.
Brilliant.
And like Suwali being there, I saw a lot of people going, "Oh fucking, he's fucking, what's he fucking?" Not the point. The point is that look at the trajectory of that kid this season.
Yeah,
and his trajectory is starting to match the hype that he had when there was that big tug of war when he was a fetus between the Rabbits and the Roosters. And he's not there to take the field. He's there because he at this stage looks to be a certain future player, whether that's in 2 years or 3 years time, and they just want to get him around it, which will probably accelerate his development anyway. Being a part of that. So no problem with that. And Appy, I mean, Appy just needs an excuse. He just needs an excuse to get out of the house and get his fuck on, as like same as last time. So Big Dog's got to eat now. And Freddie's just doing his boy a solid. Glennie, prediction: Can Queensland win the series? Can they win game one?
Yeah, I believe they can.
Will they win game one?
Origin is obviously a different arena, and there's a lot of factors that go into victory.
Get out your button mushroom. Get out the button mushroom and make a fucking put it on the table. Make a call. Are they going to win game one?
Queensland 1-12. Cam Munster man of the match.
All right, we shall see. I think New South Wales get the win. I think it might be closer than the 13 plus that Stepdad indicates, but I think that it'll be. I don't think it'll be particularly stressful though the whole time. I don't think New South Wales are going to have to come back from a double-digit deficit or anything like that to get the win. I think they'll be thereabouts for the entire game before they seal it towards the last quarter. Now, another news article, and this one just happened today, I think. And the great man, Ray Warren, has retired after 55 years in commentary. He announced his immediate retirement, and the 78-year-old will not commentate the State of Origin series. And although he had a contract extended through to the end of this season, hasn't appeared in the commentary box yet. And it looks like a quote from him. So he says, after talking with my family and calling rugby league and other sports for 55 years, I've decided my time in the commentary box is over. I will miss calling immensely, but I think it's time to move on with my 80th birthday only 12 months away. Then he goes on to thank people, where he got his start and where he worked. And and he'll continue to work at Wide World of Sports, they say. But his commentary days are over after calling 99 State of Origin matches.
Jesus.
45 grand finals and 3 Melbourne Cups.
Wow.
So most certainly one of the greatest broadcasters in Australian sports commentary history, and he was inducted in the NRL Hall of Fame in 2019.
Very nice.
Any comments? Memories?
It's probably due a better statue, if I'm honest.
Ouch.
Are you trying to get us fucking ostracised or something? Vossi's never been the same.
Sorry?
Vossi's never been the same.
He's never been the same, but the man had a point. Look, growing up, that was the voice. It's probably, he's been with rugby league.
He's been the voice for far longer than our lives.
Yeah, that's it.
Like a generation before us of watching rugby league, So I think he's probably the voice of rugby league to just about every fucking person that listens to this show. Exactly. And there might be a handful of people that remember Rex Mossop or something, but
I do remember
Frank Burge or whatever.
Yeah, Rex Mossop. I think what it highlights is the chasm, between what Ray Warren was at his peak and for so many years, and the crop of guys that we've got now. There's no one that really stands out as the guy that's head and shoulders above everyone else, and is synonymous with rugby league commentary. There's
Yeah, I think it's also just the passage of time as well, because the way that the game has changed. I mean, now we have every game broadcast live, and there's a multitude of different commentators, and you've got your various ex-player sort of colour guys, and then you've got your play-by-play guys like Warren Smith and Vossi and whatever. Whereas back in in Ray, there was maybe only a couple of games televised a week, and he'd commentate all those, and then you'd have the ABC one where you'd get Warren Boland or whatever doing that one, but he was predominantly the only guy because he was, the job only required a guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
And perhaps given that sort of scenario, maybe one of these other ones that we love to hate at the moment, maybe we'd feel somewhat differently. But
who's the best now? Who's the best at the moment?
Fuck, I don't love any of them. I'm going to be honest.
I think you should split it into two categories.
Okay.
So there's the commentator,
the play-by-play and the colour, yeah.
That's it. So I know a lot of people don't. I like Cooper Cronk.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But I like Cooper Cronk.
I guess here's this thing. If I'm listening to a doctor or somebody that gets their medical information from Facebook, just by knowing what each of them know about the subject, I'm more inclined to be more engaged by the doctor.
Mm.
You know, so just understanding what Cooper Cronk's achieved and some of what he's done, then I'm naturally going to gravitate towards him.
Yeah, but this thing is, I mean, even with those colour guys, I mean, there's the majority of them have achieved great things on the field. However,
that's it.
I mean, Cooper Cronk is definitely more eloquent and and certainly more suited to that kind of thing.
Brandy's fantastic. Absolute living legend.
Yeah,
Absolute
not
fucking
so
living
great
legend.
on the mic.
Amazing on the mic.
Not so great on the mic.
Amazing on the mic.
Play-by-play guys, though, who is it? Like, who's the best one?
I don't
Like, I'm off Vossi after probably the last 18 months. He seems to engage more in the stuff that the colour guys engage in, which is more just bitching and just beating a dead horse for 5 minutes rather than moving on and getting on with it. I hate Ganane. I cannot fucking stand Ganane and his goodbye bullshit. The day that someone says goodbye to that cunt is fucking one of the best days of my listening career.
I think the easier point is, instead of talking about who we hate, let's keep it Dairy Queen.
Well, I'm trying to like actually eliminate contenders to reach the one.
I think if you think about Rabs and all of his modern day failings aside, and thinly veiled refusal to step into the non-Stone Age and pronounce people's names correctly, or tell different people apart, he had, I think, a real love and appreciation for the game and a real respect that what those men were doing wasn't easy.
Mm.
Like a real understanding that even if it was the worst game of football that he'd ever called, that it was still something that almost no one else could go and do.
Yeah, I mean, Rabs never worked for Fox and had to commentate Monday Night Football, though.
Yeah.
So that shit would have sent him to the grave.
Dairy Queen here, Nathan.
That shit would have sent him to the grave a decade ago.
Even talking about it for 2 minutes after the fact was difficult.
When your commentary career is fucking 90% consists of 8 p.m. on Friday night, yeah, obviously you're going to have a different appreciation for the game. But yeah, no. Sorry. I've just taken your Dairy Queen and sent you down to the fucking Coogee Bay Hotel.
You sent me to get a sponge from fucking Redcliffe.
No, the sponge from Redcliffe is great. I mean, the Coogee Bay Hotel ice cream, they shitted in it. I mean, it's not the same thing. I mean, you can hate the sponge cake, but at least you come. Like,
ain't no one shat in a sponge cake to my knowledge.
2022, Glennie. We don't kink shame.
A great innings. We're treating you like you're dead. But you had a great innings. You will forever be the voice of rugby league for the current for us. Our parents to a large extent, and be interesting to see who steps up to take up the mantle, and I'm not sure that person's going to emerge anytime soon. On to round 13 of the 2022 NRL season. Shortened round, buys galore. Thursday night, though, we have got the Gold Coast Titans taking on the North Queensland Cowboys at Hope Solo Coliseum, and the Titans side. Fafita injured, as we mentioned. Tino's playing Origin. So they're out, and Mo Fotuaika returns at prop. Patrick Herbert's back in the back line, and Esan Masters, when we're talking about people who don't have utility value, he's on the bench. The Cowboys side scrambled by Origin again for the first time in a minute. So Reuben Cotter, Tom Dearden, and Valentine Holmes all representing Queensland. Nanai is injured. Tamalolo comes back from injury, though, which is a great boost for them. Lemuelu joins the bench, and the man, Brendan Elliott, he's been number 24 all year, and he's in there, number 2 on the wing, while Hampton goes in for replacing Dearden in the halves.
Cowboys, right?
Yeah,
I think Cowboys disrupted side, obviously with some selections with Origin. Drinkwater's still there, Townsend's still there, Taumalolo back. I think the Cowboys will be far too strong for the Titans. I think it might get a little embarrassing for the Gold Coast. $1.50 favourites, the Cowboys, rightly so.
I do like the fact that, while they have some players out, obviously, the Cowboys are relatively unaffected by Origin, like especially in key positions. I think that bodes really well for them. So, yeah, they'll be far too strong for the Titans. Yeah,
I mean, it's really the defensive cotter is the main thing that's going to drop out there. And I mean, like the way the Cowboys are defended this year, it's not one person anchoring that shit. I mean, that's a system that's working and has been brought in by all the guys. And I think that everyone they've got in there has played first grade this year as well, so they're not throwing anyone into the wolves. Yeah, and really, it's just a matter of the key there is how Hampton goes, and or more to the point, like how Chad goes, because these are the rounds where he's going to earn the bucks.
Yeah,
yep.
Where he's got to guide the young side that's been going great, dealing with probably the most Origin depletion they've suffered since Johnny was running around. So,
and to be honest, last year when he'd signed the contract, we were all scoffing about his ability to do exactly that. Now I'm not willing to back against him with how he's gone so far this year.
Yeah, 100%.
No, they've definitely proven themselves to be more astute than we are, and they've got so far. 12 rounds, 13 weeks into the season. They've absolutely got. They're halfway to getting every cent of value for money out of Chad Townsend that we never thought 100%. They'd get. Okay, moving on to Friday. Just the one game. The 6:00 one drops off due to Origin. The Panthers take on the Bulldogs in Penrith, and obviously it's a depleted side. This is the round of illegitimate potential joy, and so To'o, Yo, Luai, Martin, Cleary, and Crichton all out. Jennings and Staines come into the side. Falls and O'Sullivan in the halves. Chris Smith and Matt Eisenhuth in the back row, and Salmon joins the bench. The Doggies. Fatala Mariner starts in the back row. Waddell's benched. I can't believe. I mean, how Waddell still play? I just don't know. Siamanafani replaces Stimson on the bench. Otherwise, the Doggies are unchanged from the side that loses every week. The Panthers. I still think the Panthers are going to remember Origin last year. I mean, obviously the big illegitimate joy business was with the Tigers getting the win. But you got to remember in that game was fairly close, and then the Tigers kind of just pulled away sort of in the last sort of 15 minutes and that's when the Panthers' resistance kind of whittled away when they realised that it was beyond them and they weren't going to be able to close the gap. The Doggies are a different proposition to what the West Tigers were last year. I mean, the West Tigers were almost always in a fucking game last year.
Almost.
And look, it's broken record stuff, but the Dogs have they've scored more points now that Trent's gone. They're a side that it's inconsistent and has trouble putting points on.
Yep.
Can the Panthers muster up some sort of reasonable defence with the interruptions to their lineup?
I think the only motivating or factor in the Dogs' favour is the fact that Josh Adokar will be pissed off and want to play well and score some tries to prove a point about his Origin mission.
Yeah, Birdo's got to get it out to him.
Yeah, sadly, that's not going to be near enough. And I think O'Sullivan, in the handful of games that he had at the start of the season, I think he proves quite adequate in steering the side around. You've still got a formidable forward pack for Penrith and very
that's the key. That's the key to me. I think. Yeah,
system orientated. I think it'll be business as usual for this game. I don't see an illegitimate joy upset. That's for sure.
Look, it doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me. But the thing that both of you are missing is this: just the pure level of impact. You have underrated the absence of Isaiah Yeo. You speak about forward packs and all these things.
Are you predicting a Panthers loss then?
Not at all. Be 13 plus. But
so we haven't unpredicted. We haven't underestimated anything.
No, you have underestimated it. But that's the truest test. They're back to being a normal football side.
I take your point though. Yeah, without Isaiah Yeo there, they have zero chance.
The man is a walking PED.
I dare say that if the Panthers can actually win this game, it puts an end to the underrated Isaiah Yeo talk. I mean, his rating is on the line. No, if they can win without him,
you got to pick your battles here. Do you want Isaiah Yeo to be underrated, or to become not underrated, or do you want the stench of Trent to waft so long after he's left and be that pungent that they can't lose, even with the loss of the most underrated player in the history of the sport, which would make Trent by far the worst coach ever.
Yeah, but Trent's gone now. That's over. He's a corpse. So now what the Dogs do now doesn't it's not on Trent anymore. And if they were to get this win, more importantly, that doesn't go on Trent's record either. That goes on Gus's record, like the one against the Roosters a month ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, sure. I just feel like the Panthers, being serious though, I think they've got enough forwards that don't qualify to represent New South Wales to get them through this period, no problem at all.
Yes,
and really, it's just a matter of how much O'Sullivan can do, and also how much Appy's going to take on his shoulders, because it's all going to come through forward roll and Appy doing things. I think more so than through
Appy's
the halves.
In camp.
Well, no, he's number 22 though, so he'll be playing.
Oh, okay.
He'll be playing. He'll be released for this game for sure. If he's not top 18, he'll be playing this game, and I don't see what they're going to bring him in, given the fact that I think the utility value is going to go. It seems to be Crichton, Whiten, then Nico, then Appy. So I think unless Damien Cook gets injured or COVID, I think Appy will be playing. Saturday night, the mighty Manly Seagulls take on the New Zealand Warriors at Brookvale. Manly side with Daly playing Origin. We got Schuster with Foran in the halves. Jason Saab comes back from the toe injury. We are displacing George Tafua. Hallelujah. Marty Tapau returns from injury. They say injury. I think I heard something about his quad, but I mean, it's, his pride, I guess. And Carl Lawton returns from suspension. Warriors side. Wade Egan and Bailey Sirinen return. Lussick and Louis drop to the reserves. And Rocco Berry replaces Viliami Vialia. And Viliami Vialia played 40 minutes last week with a broken jaw.
Jesus Christ.
That is a tough motherfucker right there. But yeah, he'll be out for some time, obviously, with that.
Have you have either of you ever broken your jaw?
I've never broken it. I've taken a heavy knock, but and that's bad enough, really. But I've never broken it. No, you haven't, have you?
I've said things that probably would have deserved to have my jaw broken.
To the surprise of absolutely no one.
Week in, week out, if you're asking Glennie.
But just to play a contact sport, and where every jolt would be
the amount of incidental but even the amount of incidental contact you get to around the jaw, even when people are tackling you high with the initial impact. I mean, just the amount of contact and everything. It's fucking amazing to think of going through 40 minutes like that.
Yep.
But he's not playing, so therefore the toughest player in the Warriors organisation is not going to be there.
Jesus.
I can't wait to see what happens with Josh Schuster and Kieran Foran, both running 5/8, playing in the halves. I don't know who's going to be kicking, and if it's
only
Lachlan
one
Croker,
will be looking where they pass though.
Well, that's true. That's true. And I mean, will the Warriors, will they fall for it? I mean, because of because if Josh isn't looking at the guy he's passing it to, he's 100% passing it 100% of the time. Like it's just the way it is. But it's also a bit of a test or an audition or whatever, just to see, what Schuster can do. As a bit further out, in the six. Look, I don't think I question whether he's fit enough to even play 80 minutes at this point. But maybe with the less workload in defence and that sort of thing, maybe he gets through it. I mean, we'll see. But yeah, the only worry I have is like the kicking game, and if they need to kick themselves out of danger. Otherwise, look, traditionally fucking terrible results through Origin, but look, they're not going to get an easier game at this time of year than the Warriors, I think.
Mainly at home, I think.
Given the defence, and also they go pretty well at Brookie, especially this year. So it's really that. It's really the poor state of Origin results that traditionally they have. Warriors aren't amazing either over the last couple of years during the break, and the Warriors, by all rights, should be amazing in the Origin period because they're one of the sides that's almost built to not be affected by it.
Which we say every year.
Yeah,
we say every year.
Yeah, I guess how long he keeps saying it. I mean, look, fucking Manly have to get the win. I want to see Josh Schuster have a good game. I want to see Josh Schuster look where he passes, and obviously, with the massive overlooking in State of Origin, Ruben Garrick's going to have a chip on his shoulder and have to put on a clinic as well just to let these motherfuckers know.
Spot on.
The calls for Ruben Garrick to play Origin were being ignored more and more, it would seem.
Well, game one, I mean, obviously Teddy's going to do his Hog Desco thing and Queensland are going to win by a lot, and then Freddie's going to have to go, okay, the vibe didn't work, loyalty didn't work, it's time to fucking ring in fucking New and like let's reward form and get Ruben Garrick in there to fucking turn this ship around, and I'm sure he will. But yeah, that's for game two. Let's not look too far in the future. Let's be mindful. Let's live in the now, enjoy the moment, and then we can enjoy game two. Ruben Garrick, Brad Fittler medal winner when it happens. And I say when, not
as he plays with Dylan Edwards on Rugby League Live too.
Canberra Raiders take on the Sydney Roosters on Sunday afternoon down in Canberra. The Canberra side without Whiten and without Papali'i. So Frawley comes into the halves. Horsburgh moves to prop.
Jesus.
Harrowwood and Naira and Mooney joined the bench and Schiller out at the 17. Why wouldn't they just... Why is Frawley going to the halves when they... Like, Canberra fans, can you tell me what Brad Schneider... He's got like the reverse of the GOAT photos. Like, that guy came in and deputised when Whiten was out for a couple of weeks.
Yep.
And he was part of the turnaround of their season.
Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely.
I mean, they were full on faders, and then he came in, deputising for Whiten, and they turned it around. And it seems like he's always an afterthought, though. I mean, Fogarty was obviously their, I'm loath to say their big signing over the off season, but they obviously, he was the intended 7 when fit going forward, and he's taken a while to get right. But yeah, don't know. The Rooster side, though. Also Origin affected, of course, with Joey Manu moving to fullback, replacing Teddy. Kevin Nagama comes into the centres. Billy Smith replaces Tupou. And Takayaho replaces Collins at prop. Egan Butcher joins the bench. Like a lot of teams, like a lot of teams, not as Origin affected as once they once were. Who wins this one, Glennie?
I think the Roosters. Again, it's more about systems and, experience. I think Keary and Walker, the consistency through the halves is key for the Roosters. And Raiders, albeit at home, and it's getting to that time of year where they're even harder to beat at home. I still think the Roosters will be just too strong. But with some of the outs, I think it will be a more competitive game than what it otherwise would have been. So it should be an entertaining match.
I would have thought this would be a competitive game anyway, because, I mean, they're two teams that are in decent form at the moment.
Yeah, the rate. I mean, they both had their moments too, where they're patchy, both sides. But the difference that Tedesco makes to the Roosters when he's in the side can't be understated.
Yeah.
But and I've got my concerns about fucking the Thierry Ranger in the front row starting.
Yeah.
Let us potentially murder him,
or at least get him crying and pointing.
Exactly.
As he's wont to do.
Well, he's got form.
Yeah.
Yes, but no Roosters for me.
Yeah, I think you have to go to the Roosters. But it wouldn't surprise me though if the Raiders, did better than we expected. But I mean, like losing Papali'i is not the thing that it was for them last year or the year before, because you've seen Tarpanay sort of emerge as like probably their forward leader now. So
bookies have jumped on the Roosters $1.60 to $2.35 for the Raiders. So not massive.
Yeah,
long odds
I think
for the
Roosters do deserve to be the favourite, so that's probably not too far wrong. But and I would favour the Roosters as well. But yeah, it just wouldn't surprise me to see a better performance from the Raiders than we were expecting. That's it. 4 games. It's that time of the year where the weather gets cold and it all gets a bit too hard. But we get a couple of easy episodes with half the games.
6 degrees outside. Picked my son up from touch football training, where he played in tracksuit pants and a hoodie for an hour and a half, and
like Paul Sirenen in Parks against the French in like 1992 or whatever it was.
Yeah, so he was not enjoying it at all, but fire's on, and it's that time of year where fucking I still maintain all those years of 2 to 2.5, sometimes 3 hour recordings once a week.
Yeah.
The fact that the epiphany to break it up into 2 shows was only had last year was fucking outrageous.
Yeah. I know, right? I know. But, I mean, at the same time, it's a lot easier to do 2 episodes a week when we're just dialing in on a video call rather than actually having to physically back and forward and that sort of thing, because that does take a chunk as well.
Yeah, the coffee. But, the Macca's coffee on the way, and then the micro sleeps on the way home. Quality.
The problem is, like, when you were doing the drives over to my place all the time, it was like that's when Macca's coffee was battery acid, and since then they've actually tried to get the McCafe thing going, and it's like, well, I'm not going to go out on a limb and say it's good coffee. I mean, it's not the battery acid that it was either. Yeah, it's at a pinch, it's all right, if there's absolutely no other option and you need to get caffeine. You don't want to have a stroke by drinking fucking Red Bulls and V's or whatever. But yeah, on that note, that's it, boys. That's it for episode 468. If you want to support the show, please consider becoming a patron. Go to patreon.com/TWiL There's a number of tiers there that you can support the show, starting at $2, and extra content, merch drops for those at the higher levels, and our first merch drop coming up in July too. So we're going to finalise what that is, and I have to get those in production pretty quickly. As I said, finally got the polos back in stock, so we can actually pull the trigger on the supporter packs. I hesitate to call them memberships because it's June, so you know what I mean. Yes. The supporter pack, so they'll be up for pre-order shortly. I've just got flat out at work at the moment, so just need to find a moment to get up there and do the photoshopping and throw things in there. And I think that's about it. Do you fellas have anything else that you want to mention, bring up? Is there anything we're forgetting?
I think we've covered it.
Pin. All right then. On that note, and also hoodies will be coming back. People who missed the hoodies last time have indicated that they want a chance to get the hoodies, so I will be giving a chance to people to get the hoodies. And for those who have one, there will be option for an alternate colour one as well if you want to go that way. I know I do personally for myself want to get one in a different colour. So
what do you reckon? Do we do a chase variant?
Oh, like random one, not selected one.
Yeah.
Look, we could. I mean, is that something that people are interested in?
As in, the way it works is, for 1 in every 10
Yeah.
Or one in every, whatever number we fucking decide, really.
Yeah.
In each size.
But that's some sort of rarity. Like, so maybe we take the
Yeah.
total number for pre-order and like
That's
10% of them or something turn out to be, this one. And then, and what we come up with some sort of exclusive colorway that's only available
That's
to those
it.
people. Yep. Interesting. Let us know
Spoken
your
like
thoughts.
a true sneakerhead. Look at it. It's just seeping in. I love it.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Yeah, we will be releasing the TWiL Nation, the TWiL Nation 2 hoodie, which is the zip up one, or it could be TWiL Nation 3s in this colorway.
Yeah, that's
which
it.
is the
I
pullover
like it.
hoodie.
Quick update. More so for Jay. We should probably do this off air, but I'm not going to. Jackson's got his first basketball game in the MB ones on Friday night.
How good.
He after school.
Just to pick you up there, they're called mellows.
Okay.
They're not called MB1s. You just call them mellows.
Righto.
Which is incredibly disrespectful to Carmelo Anthony, but that's another story.
He
He made his bed.
took it upon himself to Uber it down to the barber after school yesterday to get his hair done. Absolutely fucking carries on a treat whenever I say, mate, you probably need to get your hair cut. Took it upon himself. It's a big moment.
Very
He's
good.
keen.
Jeez. I mean, extremely Ben Simmons areas, though. Let's hope he takes a shot when the shot needs to be taken.
Yeah, look, he doesn't lack confidence, that's for sure. But
Yeah.
Has he been training the house down in him, though?
sorry?
Has he been training the house down in
yeah,
him?
he trained Monday night with his club, but will not.
How are they improving his game, though? Did you get a review after the first training session?
Did get a fair few comments and was interrogated as to where he got them from and questioned as to whether they were fakes or not. And he had to, had a press conference essentially with his teammates and answer a few questions.
Is this because do the rest of his team play in like RM Williams?
That's fucking hilarious. But his mother would suggest that it's not far off that because apparently all their shoes are very understated and now you're coming out in those things.
Yeah. Well, look, playing in RM Williams would probably offer just as much actual scientific support and advantage as anything, say, Adidas has ever produced. So.
Old Agenda J. He's back in the building.
Yeah.
Quality.
Tell you, that's the next step. We'll start releasing custom TWiL Air Force Ones.
Yeah, we're just making them on bulk on fucking.
Get on the bandwagon. That's it.
Love it.
We have to wait. We have to wait though until they cycle the colours again because the green in there at the moment's not. The last time they cycled the colours, the green was perfect.
Yeah,
like around Christmas time, and then they moved it, and there's not real, and also now you can't. They've got to be all leather and that as well at the moment with the options. There's suede. The only options you have is like purple and black. I think are the only colours you can use out of like the 13.
Yeah.
I spend a lot of time fucking around in Nike by You making custom shoes that I never pull the trigger on.
Yeah.
And then the colours go out of circulation. I'm like, shit. Anyway, that's another podcast.
Sweet.
This week in Sneaks, coming soon, or not. That's it, boys. I'll talk to you fellas on, I guess probably Monday.
You will.
See you then.
See you, boys.